It's done and dusted. We finish where we are. The league doesn't lie. 13th in the table. Real chance of Europe at some point. But now it's a case of forgetting this and moving forward and seeing what we can do next season. Top goal scorer, Beto in the league, 9 goals. Then Barry with 8. Kieran Dewsbury Hall with 8. And then it goes down to Michael Keane with 3. Top assist, Jimmy Garner with 7. Jack Grealish with 6 and he only played 20 games. So, look at the discipline. Highest yellow cards was Jimmy Garner with 12. That goes without saying because his tackle rate and his runs back and recovery runs and that is high. And then Tim Imarabunim, 9 yellow cards in 29 games. And then it drops down to Jake O'Brien and whatnot. But so, yeah, what's your overall thoughts of the season? Your honest opinion. If you could mark it out of 10, what would you give it?
7, 8, something like that. Somewhere around those marks. I know some of the fans are going to be disheartened with it, but for me, I think it's been a fairly good season. We had a big chunk of the season where we were down. We had a lot of players out. We've not had a proper right back on the pitch for probably 99% of the games, especially in the Premier League. The biggest downfall, I think, has been strikers still. We're still struggling. You can't have 2 strikers who can't score 20 goals between them, I'm afraid, in the Premier League. If you've got 2 strikers, Premier League strikers, they should be scoring more than 20 goals between them. We've not had that. So that's one thing we do need to address in the summer. But we were safe very early on in the season. We weren't, just after Christmas, I think we were pretty much safe, weren't we? We were looking confident. We weren't going to be going down. We weren't leaving it down to having to bring managers in just after Christmas to try and secure it. And the team at times have looked confident on the pitch, looking to score goals. Even when we concede, we were still looking to try and score that extra goals, looking to win games. I think one of the biggest thing to be a bit disheartened with is the fact that we were in Europe at one point. We were in the positions, we were in the place where we would have qualified, and the end of the season we're not there. It's just down to our own poor game management, I think. So for me, yeah, I'd rate the season 7 out of 10, 8 out of
10. Last time we spoke, obviously, probably the most, the debate we've had in terms of disagreements on this channel to date. A lot of to and fro and a lot of different opinions, and that's obviously what football's about, isn't it? End of the day, or any kind of sport, it's all about opinions and how we see things. For me, the season, because it ended poorly, I think it's no win in 7, I think, if I'm right, or 1 win in 7 or whatever it is. It's something like that. It's pretty poor. It coincided with just poor performances after that Chelsea win, which we looked so comfortable. And Chelsea at that stage obviously had just dipped, and we kind of hit them at the right time. We faced them at the right time. And that point on, we thought this is in our hands to go and get European football and potentially at the time Champions League, which obviously didn't happen because Villa finished above the Reds. But hearing Rich say 7 or 8, it surprised me a little bit. It's all opinions, as I said, so it's not debating this. That's his choice, but I would go more 5, 6 personally. Going to a new season, new stadium was highly talked about at the start, and obviously Moyes kind of played it down, trying to make it not a big thing like Spurs, West Ham, Arsenal, even back in the day. Obviously, it takes time to adapt, to settle in, and we actually did really well the first 4 or 5 games. And then obviously, I think it was Spurs who came and smashed us 3-0, who did the double overs in the end. And it kind of started to fall apart with Newcastle coming soon after and beating us, and other teams getting results, and we were quite lucky in some games. I think it's been a very underwhelming season personally, because although some people will say we went from finishing 14th, 15th last season on 48 points, we finished 13th on 49 points and still minus negative goal difference. I expected a little bit more. I'm not saying Europe or top 10 was there and it should have been taken. You should have took it. It's all about money end of the day and building forward. And you can only build if you're going to actually have the finances in place. Yeah, I'm a bit of a downer, I think, because the results the last few weeks were not good enough, and game management was terrible, and that comes down to players on the pitch, of course, but also the manager and the backroom staff who need to make key decisions. And I think he got it wrong more than he got right, and that's just my opinion, I'm afraid. So yeah, it is what it is. We've got to build obviously on it. If we don't, then same stagnation as always been for the last 5, 6 seasons.
Yeah, I think you're right. The way I look at it, if you look at our last five, we got 2 points, and that is the joint worst last five in the Premier League. Us and Burnley, that's relegation form. The last 5 games, we had 2 draws out of 5, and we lost 3, and that is exactly the same as Burnley. Wolves got 3 points in their last 5, so we are joint bottom in our last 5 games. Overall, I mean, I'd say we were probably just over a 5.5, maybe 6 at best out of 10 this season. Some of the signings we made, Dewsbury Hall, very good. I'm very impressed with him, but at times he was out of games. He didn't, probably because he was so heavily reliant on the attacking force with Jack Grealish and the relationship him, Garner, and Dewsbury Hall had. Jack was a great signing, but he played 20 games and then obviously sadly had that injury. So we never know what would have happened with Jack Grealish. Some players, though, yeah, really good at parts of the season, and at other times really, really struggled towards the back end. And again, we didn't have an identity of what we're doing on the pitch. It was either counter attacking, but we didn't have the players to do it. So I think I agree with you, Liam. I think Moyes got it badly wrong with the team selection. You're picking the same teams and expecting different results. Jake O'Brien's on a right out of position, but I think the left and right back is a massive, massive positions and voids that we need to fill for next season if we're going to push up. Midfield again, wingers with pace. I've always said we need wingers and pace, and like you, Rich, said, we need strikers who can score goals. Barry and Beto nowhere near at the level, Premier League level. They need to be top class strikers that come in and Premier League proven strikers, but not having Europe makes it difficult to get these players through the door. Like, so we're gonna have to see what happens in the summer and pay close attention to what happens, and we'll do a few podcasts on transfer specials and that when we get the information through. But going on to your one player of the season, who would your one player of the season be, Rich?
Garner. I don't think I'm going to be the only one to say him. I think he's had an absolute outstanding season for us. Unlucky not to get picked for the World Cup. Going slightly off topic, he played 2 games for England, man of the match in one of them, outstanding in both games, and still doesn't get called up. I don't know what the hell that's about. What more could he physically do? He's been outstanding all season. I think he's won the most tackles in the Premier League, played the most passes. So he's done his job that you would need on the pitch that you're looking for. And don't forget as well, there's been times where he's played out of position as well. At times he has played left back for us. And that's that's not his strongest position. But once again, it kind of shows the state that the team's in. But yeah, for me, James Garner, Pickford's had an outstanding season as well. And another one was Michael Keane. I think once again, he's had a strong season. Towards the end of the season, not so, but I think that's just because he's getting so tired. I know it's only 90 minutes of football a week, but it's not. We all know it's a bit more than that nowadays. And I think he was just getting a bit tired. It just caught up with him. But yeah, for me, James Garner, shout out to Pickford as well.
It's hard not to agree with Rich on James Garner, I think, but I'm going to say Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Personally, I think he looks a bit tired, let's say, over the last couple of games, but I think we've expected too much of him, or we've got used to what he can produce. But I think if you take performances, consistency, Jimmy Garner, because he's played every game, I think, more or less, and wherever he plays, he's been fantastic. But Dewsbury Hall, just for his output, his creativity, his goals, his returns has been fantastic. And given he was out for 4 or 5 games after that Chelsea injury away, and we missed him big time.
My player of the season is James Garner. It's close with it's close along with Kieran Dewsbury, but James Garner, just purely because of what he's done this season, playing out of position, and the recovery runs are just unbelievable. You don't have to ask him to do that. He's Mr. Reliable, and I think we're lucky to have him. To be fair, because I think he'd fit into most Premier League teams. I could even see in a Manchester City shirt doing that dog work that needs to be done for them. Who's the player who's disappointed you the most this season? Like if you pick one player that you've looked at and gone, he's been dreadful this season.
Tarks,
Yeah.
I'm afraid. He's just made so many errors this season. Considering 2 seasons ago, we had the strongest defence, I think it was. I think it was 2 seasons ago. Our defence was the strongest in the Premier League. And he was he was a key part of that. You know, you'd even say he's the main figure of that defensive line. And as captain, you'd expect him to be leading by example. And I'm afraid this season he's not. So for me, Tarks, I'm afraid he's the one who's not let us down, but he's caused us issues.
Tierney Barry. I'm still an advocate for giving him a chance. He's a young player. I've got no problem with that. I think he can only surely get better, but it takes a manager and a backroom staff to coach a player to get better. And I'm still surprised to this day that David Moyes has not brought in an attacking coach to actually teach them how to be an attacker in the Premier League. Everyone talks about Premier League experience, Premier League players, having someone who knows the team. Zian Fleming, I think, has only had one season in the top flight before, and he's done pretty well for Burnley, who are absolutely terrible. And he's got 11 goals in the league, I believe. Good finisher. Not someone I want to be linked to. Well, no doubt that link will probably turn up at some point. But my point is that he's got someone in Scott Parker and a coaching staff who have been in around the Premier League and know what it takes to be at that top level. So Tierno Barry's let us down as a fan base with what happened at Arsenal away, and I think his attitude sometimes is to be questioned. But that all comes with experience, right? And we've all lived a life to the point we are now, and we all have made mistakes, and you can only move on. And a fan base can forgive and forget if he provides the goods, and that's what he needs to start doing. Then goals at City changed the game. We should have held on to it, but yeah, I still want more from him, being our kind of marquee striker signing, which again is disappointed. So it's not all down to the player, it's sometimes the recruitment side of it as well, which needs to be better.
The worst player of the season, and I think everyone knows who I'm going to go for. It's Barry. He's probably the worst player I've ever seen play football. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but you know, he runs into 3 football players in front of him. He runs into players every single game. I'm on the WhatsApp group saying he's ran into 3 players again. He can't hold the ball up. Most number 9s or most strikers get the ball into feet, hold it up, either turn the man or lay it off and make the run. A top centre forward will hold on to the ball or take the foul. Look at Harry Kane, comes short, holds the ball, gets the foul, wins a free kick. It's clever. That's what they do. They're clever drawing them fouls. Barry turns and tries to run at 3 players, and he just hasn't got a clue. Doesn't hold the ball up. He jumps for headers and doesn't win hardly any. Beto's not much better, but Barry, for me, should be out of Everton Football Club. And I guarantee there's millions out there that have that same viewpoint. To get anywhere near that team is only because we've got no decent strikers, and I'm hoping Brandon Graham does well for Northern Ireland in these internationals coming up, and he gets a shout and gets thrown in. What was the harm in bringing in someone like Graham to come in and go, we have half an hour against Spurs? It's a nothing game. Have half an hour, go and show them what you can do. But Moyes hasn't done it because Moyes is just stuck in his ways. Now, I don't know why, what the reasoning is. I don't know what it is. Is he scared to give youth a chance, especially when there's dead rubber games? And I'm gonna put something in here, right? Because what frustrates me is every Evertonian, including myself, slagged off Dominic Calvert-Lewin to the hills. We ripped him to shreds, right? He got 14 goals in a lead side that was struggling in 34 games. His best ever season for Everton under Carlo Ancelotti, he got 16 in 34 or 33 games. So he's going into a lesser team with a lesser manager. No disrespect to Leeds and Falker, because I think he's done really well. He turned them round. But you've got a world-class manager who knows what he's talking about, told Dominic Calvert-Lewin to do, and he got 16 goals. And the Premiership that season was Liverpool were on it, Man City were on it. They were a lot more competitive than this season. And look where we've gone. We should have done all we could now. In hindsight, it's all the thing to keep Dominic Calvert-Lewin at Everton. We should have done everything we could. Obviously, he wanted to go, but the fans were at him. And now we're left with the likes of Barry and Beto. Massively, massively off it. And yeah, it's not been great. Anyway, move on. Moments of the season. You pick one moment of the season. Rich, go on. Moment of the season for you. Can be anything, just one moment.
Pickford's save against Newcastle. I think that was unreal. I know he's just got save of the season, but even if it hadn't, it was unbelievable for a keeper to be able to do that. Yes, okay, it was a fairly, he'd had a decent game. He was quite busy in that game as well, especially under that particular spell. But for him to keep his calm, his nerve, his head, and for him to be able to do that, that's why he's our number one and he's England's number one. And he didn't just do it once, did he, that season? He's done so many saves where Pickford's kept us in the games. So, yeah, I'm going to go for Pickford's save against Newcastle.
I'm going to go for a bit of a weird one, I suppose. I definitely agree with that one. It is a fantastic moment. Got save of the season, rightly so. I'm going to go the Garner Gate slap on Michael Keane. I think that sums us up. I think that sums Everton up. And we went on to win the game, obviously, with a fantastic goal from Dewsbury Hall, and then sat back and showed true grit and resilience and determination. Although, it was against an Amorim side who was pretty poor, stuck in that 5-3-2 for the whole game. But besides the point, Pickford pulled off some great saves as well. That Xerxes header was a fantastic save. But it sums us up. That's Everton. That is it in a nutshell. Our own player attacking each other. It was Will Smith against Chris Rock, but the reverse, it was brilliant. And that's us, so yeah, up the Garner Gate slapping toffees.
I think my moments of the season. See, I want to say Iliman Ndiaye's posted note goal against Chelsea because of the win and everything around it. But then the moment of the season, if you're just going to go in isolation of one moment, it's Iliman Ndiaye's goal against Sunderland, where he just went past everyone and placed it. And that's probably the best he's had all season, because he fell off a cliff after the funny enough, it's the AFCON in it. I think a lot of players fell off the edge. So that's my moment of the season, Iliman Ndiaye's goal against Sunderland.
What should have been, and I think we'd all agree, is a send-off to Seamus Coleman should be the moment of the season, shouldn't it? Realistically, that's what it should be. But we didn't, and we couldn't. And I hope the club do come back and give him a testimonial that he deserves, because if there's one player who deserves it, it's him.
Worst moment of the season for Everton. And there's been a few, so I'm trying to think the worst moment of the season. It's got to be Brentford at home, getting absolutely torn apart by Brentford and making some silly subs and tactical changes.
My worst moment of the season was Sunderland's third goal. When it came through to Seamus Coleman, you're just thinking, just get rid of it. And between him and Tarks, I think it was again, there was just lack of communication, nobody owning it. And I just think that was, and it's purely because it was his last game. Now, I'm not blaming him, but for his last game, his last kind of moment, for that to be his parting gift to us, shall we say? Yeah.
Probably an obvious one, but it's the Van Dijk goal. That for me was the end of the season right there. I think I said it in the group. I was down. I was gutted. I think we finished the game at 4:30. I went straight to bed. I literally went straight to bed. Didn't say a word to the family. I went upstairs and just sat there and went to bed. That's how sad it is, and that's how sad it is that football can affect you so much, can't it? That killed me. That was the end of the season for me at that point. I knew, obviously we all say I'm very pessimistic as Evertonians, but I knew from that point on that was the end of the season. It was the worst Liverpool team to come to Goodison, to Hill Dickinson for many a year. That's exactly why they've sacked the manager, which they're not a sacking club, but they've sacked him. It was gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, and at that point I knew that was it. And the players' heads went down, and from there on we didn't win a game. And it just sums it up, really. They lost everything. They knew if they won that game, we probably would have finished above them. I really do think that. I think we beat them, I think we finish above them. I think they would have finished 7th or 8th, and we would have been 6th, 7th. I really do. But that's how football goes, isn't it? Usually for us anyway.
Would you keep Armstrong, or would you send him out another loan for another season?
I'd play him. I'd give him a run of games in pre-season. I think he's shown when he came on against Sunderland, he'd done a few good touches. He's played against some big teams. Listen, why is it like Steven Gerrard when he comes through Liverpool, played, Jamie Carragher played, Michael Owen played, Liverpool, well, it's only recently they're not playing the youngsters as much, but if you've got a talent, play him. Like Rooney come in, play him. You can only protect him so long before he's going to be like, well, I'm not playing. Just play him. What's the worst going to happen? You can't do any worse than like some midfielders we've got now. Play Armstrong, give him the chance. Give
Yeah.
Asnu a chance. Give Patterson a chance. If they mess up game after game after game, then there's your case. There's your point in case. You're going, I've tried them, lads. Look, I am doing what the fans want me to do. They're not good enough, and then we'll go, okay, you've give it a good shot. He's tried Barry all season. He's massively failed. He's not good enough. Now you've done it. Get rid of him. We won't complain, but give players a chance. That's what I'd say. I'd play Armstrong. Play him.
I would
Just
as
a gone
well.
again.
I'd keep him around the team, and I'd be looking to give him minutes each game and build on those minutes. You've got to, as you say, the only way we're going to introduce him into the team, we're going to make sure he's at that standard, and I think he can be at that standard. I think he's a Premiership footballer. He just needs to take that next step, and that next step is he needs minutes in the Premier League.
And you've got to play him in the right position.
Yeah.
You can't play him out left wing.
Don't be playing him in goal. There's no good doing that. You've got to put him in his position.
Exactly that, mate. Not left wing, not in goal, not up front. Play him centre mid or just behind Kieran Dewsbury Hall with Jimmy Garner. And I think he'd learn off Jimmy Garner. Let Jimmy Garner do the legwork. Let him express himself in midfield. But he won't do it. He'll get sent out on loan again to Preston. And it might have worked 20 years ago for Moyes doing that, but the Premier League's a very different kettle of fish now. And I think we've got to think, if we want to push that next level and the owners are going to invest, we need to really think to that next level, not stagnant mid-table. But we did say a couple of years back when we were going through all them troubles, we'd happily have mid-table obscurity. So, yeah. Liam, what are your thoughts, mate?
Well, be careful what you wish for, eh? It's funny, isn't it? It's how fickle we can be as fans.